Yes, now recording should be started. Yes, we are going to look at ASK as playing around with it, get to know it. I know some of you might already know it, but it's always good to have a refresh of all the different functions we have in ASK. The first thing that we're going to have a look at is our personal settings. So if you all open ASK, I hope you have that. If not, I will wait until you all have ASK open. Please say if I can continue or I should wait. Yeah. Okay, then I will continue. Setting up your personal settings is, in my opinion, important because then you know what you start up each time. And I'm not saying that you should set it up exactly as I have it, but I'm just showing you how my profile is set up. What you do is you go to settings up here in the top menu. You just follow me on your laptops or screens, desktops. You press settings, and then here you have different functions in this top menu. You can, whatever you want, you can change your layout or skin of how ASK looks. I use Mac skin because I'm an iPhone guy, so it looks similar to icons on an iPhone, but you can send it up to whatever type of skin you want to. This bottom here is quite important because ASK has a lot of windows in it, and you can actually move around with these windows as you prefer. And then suddenly you will, for example, if I take this window here, let me see. Can I move it upwards here, for example? Yeah. See, now the window is revision is gone from how I normally look at, or I have my windows set up in ASK. So one way of getting it back to normal, to standard setup, the way I've set it up, is to restore default layout. Then it will always jump back to what you had. Then it says, do you restart the application, or do you wish to restart it? The default is restored, and apply the changes, and you should restart the application. Then you say yes. And then you just restart ASK, and then it's back to normal. So it's a sort of an emergency button you can press if everything has gone wrong. You see, now it looks like now I have it as I had it before. So that one is quite useful, this one. Then we go into options, and you follow me into options. We can set up our personal default settings. In here, obviously you should have your name stated up here. In product configuration, it should say your name. Remember, you can drag in every window in here. Quotation settings. I suppose you have channel partners or agents up here. I have engineering. I have more possibilities possibilities to make changes, and I can ignore some important warnings and so on. So that's the different quotation modes, but you probably have agents or engineering here. What do you have, Tanina? Tania. Am I saying it right?
Yeah. Tanya, usually.
Tanya. Okay, that's easy.
Yeah. So
what type of mode do you have?
Sorry, I'm one step behind.
No problem.
The options. What was the window before this one?
The setting and then options. Settings in the top and then options.
Yeah. Yeah, I have pretty much the same as what you have there.
Okay.
Except that show message wasn't ticked for me at the bottom.
Okay. I recommend you to set it up like I have here. Besides, you have different up here in the ASK mode quotation. But data should be translation mode standard. Then I have marked in the first 3 ones.
Yeah.
Then this one is, in my opinion, quite important, because if you generate drawings and reports as a general in ASK, it automatically saves it on the Citrix server, and that makes it a little bit slower to get a hold of them, and also the way your mapping is. So what I have do is I've set up a local folder on my own PC, which I call temp ASK. And then when I generate all reports, I do not open it in the program, but I just save them down in this folder on my C drive. And then obviously when I'm finished, I'm dragging it into an email to quote the customer, and I'm dragging it into our net drive in Denmark, so they are shared and free for my colleagues up here.
Okay. Yeah,
in my opinion, it's a good idea to set up a folder. It will save you some time when generating reports and so on.
I completely agree.
Yeah. So I don't know if everyone have done that, or they just should we wait until people have done that, or can I continue?
You can continue.
Okay. Then I have clicks or marks in the next 4 ones. I don't know how yours looks, but default sales organization, I believe, do not touch it. Keep it as it is on your screens. Default distribution channels should be products A2. And default division should be O1. If everyone is clear on that, I will jump to the next one called Common Product Settings over here in the left. Here I have PED, unit system. There are a lot of difference in here. Also some for specific customers and so on. But since I'm quoting mostly out of Bitgos, and your European guys will be doing that as well, I recommend that you set it up to PED. You can always, when you go into the calculation, change to SI or metric if you have one specific where the customer wants to see it in a different unit. These two are related to the to 2 seconds. Who's waiting here? It's Connor. Good morning, Connor. Good morning, Connor.
Hello. Good morning,
Hello.
Niels. How are you? So, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, perfect. So apologies for the delay there.
No,
Just
okay.
heavy traffic this morning, getting into the office there.
Yeah, that's how it is. We are working through setting up settings, default settings in ASK. So I would like if you could open your ASK.
Perfect. No problem at all.
And please say when you are ready for it. By the way, Connor, I'm recording today because Alexandra from Clever Machines in Russia, she's on an exhibition, so she has asked me to record the session for today, just so you know. So you know. Yeah.
No problem.
So if you're gonna swallow, or what is it called? Use bad words at some time. Are you into ASK or?
Yeah, it's the ASK 1, is it? It's not ASK 2. Is it? Oh.
No, it shouldn't be ASK 2. It should be
Yeah, the standard ASK.
the standard ASK. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
This one.
Yeah, I'm into it now. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Then you go up here in the top menu. You go to settings.
Yeah.
And then options.
Yeah.
And then obviously your program settings up here are for your name or your account. And then in quotation settings, you should set it up as I have it here in front.
Perfect.
Of you. You have another quotation mode up here. Ignore that.
Okay.
But the other stuff should be as I have it here.
That's perfect. Yeah, no problem at all.
Okay. Then common product settings. I selected unit systems PED, since most of our quotes are covering PED approved heat exchangers.
Yeah.
These two are for pumps, and since pumps or homogenizers, it was the intention that homogenizers, actually also valves, tubulars, should be in ASK when they developed ASK, but they found out that that would be way too costly to incorporate that into the program, so that was left out. But still, there are some boxes which are related to other products.
Okay, perfect.
Then the next thing is we're going to 2.3 plate heat exchangers. Here.
Yep.
I don't know how yours look. I hope you have something similar to this, not found in the top on default applications.
Mm-hmm.
Then I use a standard PED. It could be that if you are always quoting for asthma, you could select the standard code. It's just to make it easier for you when you start up a calculation that it starts up with what you are normally dealing with. Then target area. It depends on which, I would say target area depends on which application area you're going to work the most in. Target area is a way of, some will call it cheat, I will not, I will call it optimization. We have a couple of target areas. I believe you have two. You have sanitary and industrial in your profiles. The difference between the two is if you select a sanitary, calculates in zero, meaning when I say in zero, there is always a small safety margin included. That goes for area, heat transfer area, and also when calculating the pressure drop in the heat exchanger. By going to industrial, you optimize approx 10% on the heat transfer area, and you optimize about 10% on the pressure drop. The reason why this is done is in industrial, where most of the applications are water, or such easy applications, customer will never notice 0.01 or 0.1 degree temperature difference. And furthermore, he will not measure his pressure drop as accurate as 0.01 as well, difference between the two. So industrial standard is used when you want to go for the cheapest possible solution. If you calculate an industrial with zero excess area, it will work. No doubt about it. Don't be afraid about that. When we are dealing with more viscous products, like yogurt or something like that, I always calculate in sanitary standard in order to have this safety. So actually it depends on which application area you are the most. But if you start setting it up as industrial in your options here, then you know you have the possibility to change to sanitary. So you always, it's a good idea to just have a few things you need to change when you start up a calculation, because then you think about what is it, which application area I'm quoting for here. Is it a competitive industry? Is it not? And et cetera, et cetera. So if you could set it up to industrial, that's fine. Sanitary code should be none, and none should be selected in this classification boxes. Autofill arrangement in new document should have a mark. Then this one, mechanical data sort, is probably set up to price on yours. I recommend you to set it up alphabetically, because then you have an easier overview of all the different sanitary connections you can select. So alphabetic. Default flow units, I have it in mass flow rate, because then, as we talked about last time, then I'm independent of the temperature. Numbers of solution for PHE when doing auto select, 5 pieces. Percentage of spares gaskets is recommended to be 10%, and percentage of spare plates to be recommended is 5%. You can of course set these higher. You could set it to 100%. So when you do an add-on on spares, it will give you all the gaskets in the heat exchanger. But these are what we recommend: 10% of gasket and 5% of spares in a heat exchanger for the first year of operation, or for startup, commissioning, so on. Then this one you should set it to 2 conservative. It's it's difficult. Unpierced ports. It should be 2. All clear on this? Good.
Yes.
Next is PHE CIP. It should be set up like this. It should have water, and then it should have a mark in minimum pressure drop. And I don't know what you get here, if you get the same values as I have here.
I have the same.
Yeah, it's the same.
Good. Good. Then PHE drawing data sheets. Including general detailed remarks, info in the plate arrangement should have a mark. This is a small field where we can fill in extra special information, and if we have a mark here, it will be shown on the plate diagram. Including frame parts info on plate heat exchanger arrangement drawing. I do not have that because it takes up simply too much space on the plate arrangement drawing, and it has no function there, because what you need to see on the plate diagram is plate part numbers, arrangement of their plate pack, and gasket part numbers and design parameters, pressures, etc. So I recommend not to have a mark here. Include plate info, include gasket info, marks, include fittings should not be here on the plate arrangement. That will be shown on the assembly drawing, and include working test pressure. Should have a mark. All clear?
Yes.
Good. I will just show you pull this agenda box and checkpoint list over when we have done something. So if I say done to something and you don't agree, please let me know that we haven't been through it, because then I have to go back and recap it. It could be that I think we have done it and you're not 100% sure that you have understood it, and so on. Do we need to discuss industrial sanitary target area anymore? Or is it clear that we optimize a little bit on area and pressure drop, depending on which application we're quoting for? Of course, when we start doing assignments, I will tell you what I normally do for this particular application, how much excess area I normally calculate with, and so on. So we will be touching these 2 target areas a lot more during the training. But now I have give you the explanation on what it is, so I will say done here. Then next point is how to insert copy, in general, navigate in ASK. See, I want to drop a question to all. I know some of you have some experience in it, but do you want me to start from scratch so I go through every step, or meaning that we start up doing a quote. I explain what the different fields are for, etc., which one are mandatory and so on. Do you like to have that complete explanation?
I think that would be more helpful.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's do that. The first thing I will do is then I will explain this front what you see here in front of you. You will always have the last, I believe, 10 pieces of your recent quotes here, what you have opened and what you have had a look at. That will always be shown here. If not, and you want to open a quotation, which you have done, there are several possibilities. I will go through these up here. You have two possibilities to open an existing quote. You have this one, where if you have a part of the quote number, you actually don't have to write the whole part of it. I always take it from after ask 00, I put in the numbers there. So this one we could try with this one. LIBZ search. Then it's here and I can open it. Fine. Then I close it again. Then there are several other possibilities. There are, for example, then I have to delete this all clear. You can also search on quotes made by you or made by your colleagues. In this case, I will select me and say search, and you could put up specific dates up here. If you know it's quoted in 21, there's no idea searching in 22, obviously. See here, it comes up with a lot since I've been doing a lot of quotes. It also takes from 21, obviously. So it takes up all of my quotes. Note here, and I will be pointing that out when we do exercises, but I always try when I do a quote to put in as much information as possible on what is it regarding. I'm quoting, that's one thing, but also to which customer project. So as much as possible information in here will make it a lot easier if you're going to find a quote at a later stage. That is here in title. And then also on customer reference, it's a good idea if you have a customer reference, put it in under customer reference, because then you can always search on that. If you don't fill in anything, you can't search on it. Clear.
So
Then,
ask a question.
Yeah, please.
This screen, is this only the things you have done by yourself? Because it says created by your name.
Yes, correct.
So how do we get that?
Yeah, by pressing this one up here, created by. And then put in a name on a colleague or your own name.
Okay. So you open it, you click created by. Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. That was one function created by. It could also be the customer. I could, for example, I know a customer called APV. Oh, sorry. Search, and then they call APV Hemasan. I take that one. Then I should get all quotes for APV Hemasan. both done by me and my colleague and others, then I get all quotes done in ASK with this customer. That was searching by customer. Quotation responsible, that is actually the person who created it. So it's more or less the same as created by. Quotation state is whether it is in progress, if it's quoted, if it's an order. We could take all release for sales order, for example. Search. Then it gets the status of all the ASK files released for sales order done by different persons. These are the important ones. You can open with ASK number. As you can see, you could also have opened with the title if you have filled in a valid title. But created by customer, these are the two important ones that I use if I don't have a part of the ASK number. If I have a part of the ASK number, of course I use that. That's a lot easier, don't I? Then I don't get a complete list. Can I use this down? That was opening a quote from here. Everyone clear on that? I assume so.
Yep.
Yeah. Then there's one more function to open quotes, and that is this one called go to. Sorry, answer. Again, quotation. You can open on a specific item number. Each item in ASK gets a specific number. You can open on that. If the heat exchanger is sold and produced, you can open on the serial number. You can open on the drawing, and you can open on the sales order number if you have that. That is possible. For example, this one. I know this one has been released for sales order and is sold, so I could, if the customer has informed me the serial number, and also some of the old serial number. If you are above, you know, the old serial numbers are 6 digits. It could be 530125, for example. If the serial numbers are in 5000 or 520 or 530 in that area, they can be available in here as serial numbers. It depends on how old they are. I will try to open this serial number I just copied. Hopefully it will open it. And then it opens the ASK file with that specific serial number. It is around, let me think, it's around 2 years ago, we started using a part of the ASK number as the serial number instead of pulling out a manual 6 digits number each time we had an order. And obviously that is clever. It saves you time. And the serial number is a part of your ASK number, obviously. It is SNO4PD4I, which is this part of your ASK number. And then this one is the item in your quote. And 1A is whether it's, you can have several solutions to an item. then it's whether it's solution 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or whatever. But that's the way the serial numbers are built up now. That was go to. Then now we will start creating. Creating a quote. So I will say new blank. In here we should have a title. It should be ask fill in as much as you like. You might as well fill in your ASK file now and create an ASK file, because we are going to work in that one doing all the assignments. So you might as well do it right now. I'm not saying that you're going to write it exactly as I have it. It's up to you how you want to name it so you can find it again. Next thing you do on the CRM, you see all bold fields plus underlined field has to be filled in, or else you're not able to do different selections later on or different actions later on in ASK. So for this one, you customer CRM opportunity, you press the plus, and then it says new opportunity. Here, I fill in ask you one. This field has a limitation on, I believe, 24 digits. So just be aware of that. You might get a warning when you save it that you have put in too many letters or numbers in a field. Then you have to go back and change it back to the limitations. But I think it's 24 in this one. Then we have this reference date. It depends on how you work in your entity, but the meaning of it is that reference date should in principle be the date where you have received the inquiry, because later on in revision we will put a date in when we send the quote, and then you can actually drag out a report from ASK telling you what is your response time on inquiries, if you want to do some statistic on that. But that is the purpose of this field here. How you want to deal with it and work with it in your office is, of course, completely up to you. But I'm just telling you what the intention is with the different fields. Okay, customer. You should always you Axflow, you select Axflow, and Pasilac should select Pasilac. Now I'm searching for Axflow. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but some Axflow companies do not go via the EDC, and others do. So actually, I'm not in control of it, and I'm very confused. But what I do is I take this one DC. That one I always select when doing something for Axflow, because this one is open in all these different sales organizations. So if you can all, not you from Pasilac, Bojan and Elena, you should select Pasilac if you can find it. And Tanya, you should of course select whatever you want in Australia. Bojan, were you able to find Pasilac?
Yes, I have Pasilac.
Perfect. Then sales organization until other notice, we select 6,000 for Kolding. Actually, it should have been changed to something for Silkeborg. But you can select this one, sales 6,000 Kolding. That will work, and you will be able to release for quote and finish configuration and release for sales order if you use this one. This one is you don't have.
No,
Sorry.
I cannot select sales organization.
But then you 6,300 for Silkeborg.
Yeah.
Yeah, select that. Yeah, select that
Yeah.
one.
Thank you.
This one we don't have to do anything about that one. It's related whether it's a distributor or rep. I never use it, and it's not mandatory, so leave it. Customer group is whether it's a distributor, whether it's an end customer or whatever. I'm not sure whether channel partners are here. Global key account, reseller. Well, we will take distributor. Industry. There are a lot of different ones in here. And the ones we mainly use, these industries are also in here, so you can do some statistic from ASK to drag out some reports. And this field, this industry field will also be transferred into our SAP system. So we can see how many do we sell for beverage, how many do we sell for dairy, etc. In this case, we are working with sanitary ones, so we select dairy. That's the most common one to use, this one, dairy. And there's one called other industry. These two are the most common ones. So I've selected dairy. Then distribution channel is a mandatory one. Always select A2. And when you have selected 6,000 up here, it should be this one called 601 here, Kolding. And in your case, Bojan, it should be N43, I believe.
It's empty by default.
Okay, but
So,
it has to be filled in. Since you see it's a underlined field, there has to be something in here in order for or else your ASK file you're not able to go the whole way with your ASK file.
okay, which one to choose?
N43, N43. Are you able to find it?
Yes, I find it.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you. It says piece heat exchanger.
Exactly.
Demo,
yeah,
okay.
That's products, components. Yes. So that's fine.
Okay,
Then it gives you the ASK number. Then you have customer language, currency. Here you see this guy is no longer in the company. He's but he's hooked up on AskFlow DC. So I assume that all your AskFlow guys, you get this name out. Is that right? Danielle, what type of name do you get in this custom?
I get Atkinson.
Yeah, perfect. If you get a name in there or you get something called not found, then it's perfect. But still, there has to be something in it because it's an underlined field. Then you have owner. Then there's order possibility. This field is used if you want to use Ask as a pipeline program. That can also be that you drag out reports from Ask on pipeline. And obviously, if it's 100%, it's a good idea to put in 100%. If it's less than 50, then why bother quoting it? Yeah. Pipeline, it's qualified. It can be developed or qualified. And then bid type, it could be firm or budget, non-binding. And then estimated reward date, it fills in that one itself. It takes a month from now. If you have an idea on reward date, please fill it in. But I just leave it as it is normally. If it's a file if it's a file where you're not actually gonna quote it, but it's just gonna be a training file or something you use to just do simple duties in to see something, meaning that it's not a file that you in the end gonna quote. What you could do is you could put a mark here in this field. It's called not for quote. It's just a calculation that you use to play around in to do different stuff, trainings or whatever. So in this case, I will put in not for quote here because then it do not count in the pipeline. Then it's not something I've quoted and believe an order on. It's just a file that I'm playing around with. Is that clear?
Yep.
Good. So I've put a mark here. Then the way to operate, you probably all know that, but that is sometimes with Ask, press save. Once you've done something, it's always a good idea to press save, and that goes for every type of software, especially Ask. Sorry. The next thing is then, and I'm going to talk a lot to that during the training, is I'm going to talk about the quotation tree. And it's built up like this. You have on the top level, you have the quotation level. And then when I press this green one, I can go, then it will, how to say, push me to the next level in the tree, and that is revision. So after filling in all this, press the green arrow. Then it gives me the next level in the structure, and that is the revision level. Here you have to fill in a requested delivery date. Let's take it in April. Here you need to have a mark in use requested delivery date as pricing date. The function is in here that I can click it off to go back to look on old prices before price updates were released and so on. But you should always have used requested delivery date as pricing. Then it will automatically fill that in here. Then remember on the front page, I will just say save. I talked a little bit about this reference field. And we could also say here that we received the inquiry yesterday. Like that. And when I then fill in here, when I send it to the customer, then I can, of course, obviously do a report between these two dates so I can see how fast I am and tell my boss what my normal response time is. Then we have Incoterms. I believe all ASK flow that's from plant X works. I'm not sure about you, Boyan and Jelena. Do you have what type of Incoterms is connected?
X-Works.
Then you see, since I selected coaling here, I believe, it comes up with coaling. Of course, that's not right because it's coming from Butgos. So just delete what you have in this field. I always do. There's no problem having it here, but then there's no misunderstanding. Then I delete it so the field is empty. Shipping conditions should have something in it, and it will by default fill in something connected to this customer. So if it has filled in something, keep it as it is. This one, complete delivery, could be that you have several items, but you are delivering them in different portions. But normally it is always a complete delivery, so there should be a mark here. Then again, payment terms is hooked up on the customer selected. So it's filled in. Delivery block, you should not have anything in this one. It should be empty, and I don't actually know what it's used for, so don't use it. Save. I hope everyone are following me and are at this level stage.
Yeah.
Perfect. Then press the green one again. Then it makes an item in the quotation structure or tree. I know that the first one, I think the first assignment that we're going to work in is 2 seconds. I just have to check. I think it's in this file. Calculation number 1, it's going to be a milk cooler. So I will write that in the text. You can also call it assignment number 1. It's up to you. But it's going to be a milk cooler. Again, the more information you put in here, the better it is for you to recognize what is it that I have done. For example, if it's for a project where you have a lot of item number or tag numbers, please put in, or I would say you should put in the tag number here. You can put in tag number and then milk cooler afterwards. But if you have this type of information from your customer, fill it in because it will be shown on the calculations, and it will be then easier for the customer to figure out which heat exchanger is for which tag number or item number. So as much information as possible. Next field, you just write PHE, enter. You see now it has already filled in the item number title. It has not yet put in the solution because we haven't made a solution yet. Save. green arrow. Process application has to be selected. I don't know how many is shown on your desktop. It depends what is connected to your profile. But the two main ones you should use are this one, multi-section, genetic multi-section A4 or single section A4. The difference between the two are, you could say, yeah, but if I select multi-section A4, don't I have to calculate a multi-section? No, you don't. The difference between the two ones are, on multi-section, you will get plate stamping included, meaning that each plate will have a unique number according to the plate diagram. If you select single, you will not have plate stamping included in your pricing. For food heat exchangers, which often are in multi-passes or multi-sections, we should always select this one, multi-section, so we have numbers stamped into the plates, because they are a lot more difficult to rebuild or refurbish. So for the service guys, it is very important that we have a number stamped, position number stamped in each plate, so they can easily find out where this plate has to sit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If it's a single section, one pass water for some HVAC, it's normally not an issue because you have three plates which are different from the rest, and that's the two end plates and the first seal plate up against head. So for industrial water, just select this one single section, but for all sanitary, select this one multi-section A4. Then you see this one comes because I've set up my options to BD. So leave that. Target area, yeah, now we are going to quote a milk cooler. It is not a milk cooler is actually a simple application. It's not something that where a lot of fouling will be present. It's a thin product, etc. So a milk cooler I would calculate with industrial standard. When we start doing the calculation, we can swap between the two so you can see what the difference is in your result. So industrial standard. Sanitary code should be none. Save. And again, as I mentioned, when we did the options, you have the possibilities to change the unit system in here manually, but it should by default have taken PED if that's what you have set up in your settings here. Let's go to the duty. These the first four headlines in the three quotation revision item requirements, I use the green arrow to jump between those. When we get to solution, please be careful and don't do anything before I do it. Then I get into the duty. I will call this run number 1. Sorry. Again, it's up to you how much you want to fill in, but I always fill in as much as possible so I know what this particular heat exchanger is doing. It could be that I have several runs on this heat exchanger. We will play with that, obviously. And we can do that in this first file here. So the first run I will call 10,000 liter milk cooler. Then we have to select a liquid, and then I want to ask you: have you all studied the ASK manual regarding fluids, or are you all familiar with selecting fluids? Since no one is saying anything, I assume you are on top of it. Yes. There are several possibilities here, but in this training, the intention is to teach you to use the system fluids. At a later stage, we will go more detailed into, if we manage that during this training, we will go more detailed into the other types of setting up fluids, the other ways of setting up fluids. But this one is a milk cooler. So you can either write a part of the name, or you can select it by pushing the pull down menu. You should have one called custom fluid and one called system fluid. If you look in my custom fluid, I have tons of custom fluids which I created myself, which I have put into different categories or classes. We will have a look at that later, how that is done. For now, we will use the system fluids. So into system fluids, into food, into dairy products, into milk and skim. And this milk with 13% total solids is the raw milk. This one we normally always use for raw milk. If you have a higher fat percentage or total solids, of course, you can select some of the other ones. But this one, the 30%, is the most frequent one we use. Okay, I said it was 10,000 liter because the customer informed me that. Okay, then I have to change to volume flow rate. Put in 10,000 liter. Now, in this duty screen, it is recommendable to use the tabulator on your keyboard to jump between the different fields. It makes it easier, and it makes it easier for you, so you don't suddenly forget some sort of information, or you fill in too many information, or you fill in too little information. So I use the tabulator. We say it's a raw milk intake cooler, so it's cooling from 12 to 4 degrees. Then pressure drop. Remember from day number 1, we talked about pressure drop. If you allow a higher pressure drop, you can make a cheaper heat exchanger. So if you fill in something completely unrealistic here, let's say 0.1 bar, the program will actually try to give you a solution which will fulfill 0.1 bar, meaning maybe putting in 1,000 plates. No, I'm exaggerating. So, but anyway, fill in something realistic. I always, most of the time on normal dairy products, low viscosity and so on, I just put in 1 bar. I use the tab, and then it jumps to the water. And here I will try just to write a part of the naming, and I will just write water. Tab. Then can anyone remember what ratio? No, actually, we haven't been talking about that. Not yet. Okay. I will just fill in something, and then later on we will talk about recommended rations. I would say 20,000 liter. This is just to play with the duty screen. 20,000 liters, 2 degrees. And then, since I'm using the tab, it's automatically calculating the unknown parameters. If I were, for example, were moving around with my mouth, it could be by incidence I have put in this temperature also. Then suddenly I've overdetermined the system. Too many parameters has been specified. And what to do if that occurs? Yeah, you simply double click on one of the fields. Here you could either double click on the flow, but this one was the one I entered in, so I double click on that one, and then it automatically calculates again. And then I have to put in a field, something. This was a milk cooler. These are normally the informations you get when dealing with sanitary applications. You normally get the flow rate, the inlet and the outlet, some ice water temperature, and this one you determine yourself. Or it could also be that your customer has a restriction. You only have 15,000. Yeah, but then you have to use 15,000. This pump is not bigger than that. It could also be that your customer comes with another request. We see that often also on dairy customers. That could, for example, be if, let's say, we cool this direct from the separator. No. We cool it from somewhere else. We cool it from 55. And then suddenly my outlet of the ice water gets very warm. And that is not very nice for the customer. They want it as cold as possible back to the ice bank. So what you can do is he might have informed you what his maximum allowed return temperature on the ice water is. Then you can double click on the flow rate and then click on this one and fill in requested outlet temperature. Then it automatically calculates the needed flow for the ice water in order to get a return temperature of 12 degrees. It could also be on HVAC customers. I will just turn this back to what I had. So I double click again, 25. And I double click here. And then it calculates. And then I change this to 12, which was my original duty. When you get inquiries from HVAC companies, it's different. I would just add a run to show you how they normally inform you. I can call it original. I will delete it afterwards. I will call it HVAC duties are normal water. So select water, use the tab. They do not know the flow rate. Normally they do not know the flow rate. They come with an inlet on the district heating water on, let's say, 65, and they want an outlet of 40. They normally always want maximum 0.55 bar water. not calculating the flow rate. They have an inlet, and that could be 10 degree, heating up to 55 if it was the shower water, and then 0.5. Hang on 2 seconds. There's one impatient guy here on the phone. And then they inform you the kilowatt that they need to exchange. So they give you inlet on primary side 65, and then the outlet, and then on secondary side they give you the temperatures, and then they give you the kilowatt, and then it calculates the flow rates. Did that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense.
Good. I think we should take a break until 10:30. I need to go and have a cup of coffee, and then we continue. Okay?
Okay.
So we have a break in 8 minutes, and I will stop recording and then turn it on again when we start again. Okay. See you.